Why did I take the £0 challenge? What made me come up with it in that summer 2014? Well, it was a lot of different things. It had been something I'd been interested in for a very long time, just as I'd been interested in lifestyle experiments for a very long time. And lifestyle experiments are thought to be, when you do something unusual for a set period of time. And it's about how you live. So, for example, I lived in a yurt. I travelled by bike for a year. Those actually overlapped by a little bit. I've just been really interested in finding happiness, and finding happiness through trying to understand what the core ingredients for life are. What do we need and what don't we need? And quite often I do that by experimenting with temporarily taking away something that we're thought to need. So, for example, travelling only by bike, there is this idea that we need a car. That's very common in Britain where I live. We need a car. Was that true or not? So I experimented with what happens if you don't have a car, and as it turned out, what happened was there were some benefits, but in the end I ended up getting a car again, but still I was enriched by the experience. So it was really interesting with the money challenge. I'd always been curious about the role of money and how the minute it was invented, we're all just so attached to it. Riches, poverty, wealth, treasure, there's an obsession with it, and it goes beyond meeting our basic needs through money and money to spend on the things that we need. It goes way beyond that. So this summer of 2014, I'd already quit my teaching job. I was planning to busk through Europe, and I'd just finished recording an album. And I was just really wanting to change my life quite a lot, and I wanted to establish a sense of resourcefulness, and that was kind of what the busking was about. But there were just a few things that came to me as I was just about to start, and this was in May 2014. First of all, busking in Britain was really a lot worse that year than it had been before, and my idea to sort of just, in a way, sort of start from nothing, just busk along the coast, the southwest coast of Britain, until I got to the ferry port, and then would have the money to take the ferry. I actually thought, am I ever going to even make it to the ferry port with busking being as bad as it is at the moment? I'm not really going to have this experience of self-sufficiency that I've been looking to establish and experience, and there was a feeling that I wouldn't need to be afraid if I could establish that self-sufficiency. It's not complete self-sufficiency, but you kind of think of the parameters that you'd like to do and that would make you feel happy, and then go ahead and do it, and that's what I was doing. And the other thing was, I thought, I'm not really actually starting from zero, because I had a couple of £100 in my bank account. I'd just done my first day's busking. It had been really bad, which was a shame because it was the best town I ever busked in. And I was in my van on Charmouth Beach, or is it Charmouth Beach, just thinking, is this the right thing, or do I need to run out of money first? And starting from absolute zero became to me what I needed to do. It felt like I was still quite afraid about running out of money, even though I'd been self-employed since I left university. I was still afraid of running out of money, and I still was afraid every time my money got low if it looked like I didn't have much work booked. So I just thought, okay, let's just face this head on. You've got no teaching, and you have £200-ish left, and you don't know what's going to happen next. So why don't we just say, instead of doing what you'd normally do and scrabble around trying to make sure you've got enough money, just let it run out. And if you can build up from zero without begging, borrowing or stealing, then you're going to feel confident in the world that you're resourceful enough to live in a way that's very free. So that was what I did, and I did it very publicly. I blogged about it at the time. And I set up rules for myself. Every lifestyle challenge needs rules. They're not the ultimate rules, they're just the rules that kind of help you achieve what you're trying to achieve. So they were: no seeking work until my money runs out. Accepting gifts, I decided was okay, but they needed to be not influenced by the challenge. So if because someone knew that I was running out of money, or I was doing this thing they thought was crazy and they wanted to give me loads of money or something like that, I'd say, well, that's not regular generosity, that's you worrying about me because of the challenge. But it wasn't that I wanted to refuse any help. Just moving through the world normally and receiving gifts, that was fine. When it came to reaching zero, then I wouldn't be able to go into my overdraft or draw benefits. I needed to, in a self-sufficient way, earn my way back up from zero to healthy living. The biggest thing about the challenge was that I assumed that when I reached £0, I would have nothing. But what I realised in the end was that when I reached £0, I didn't have nothing. I just didn't have any money. And I didn't know that those two things were different until I went through that decline to zero bank balance. And that's what this series is going to be exploring in much more detail.